Ravi lived in a quiet neighborhood with his wife Mira. The houses stood in neat rows, and people usually minded their own business. It was a place where children played in the small park, neighbors greeted each other politely, and life moved slowly. Ravi liked this peace. After serving in the Navy for many years, he wanted nothing more than a calm home where he and Mira could build their life together. But peace does not always last. One sunny afternoon, Mira was watering the plants outside when two men walked toward their gate. They wore uniforms that looked almost official. Their shirts had shiny badges, and they carried clipboards in their hands. At first glance, they looked like security officers from the local housing committee. Their faces were serious, and they walked with an air of authority. "Madam," one of them called out, "we are from the neighborhood security team. We need to check your house." Mira paused. She had never seen these men before. The real neighborhood guards were familiar faces. These two looked new, and something about their manners seemed forced. Still, she did not want to appear rude. "What is the matter?" she asked politely. The taller man glanced at his clipboard. "Routine inspection. Some rules have changed. We need to check your documents and your backyard." Mira frowned. She knew about the housing rules. Notices were always sent in advance, and residents were given time to prepare. No one had told her about new inspections. "I have not heard about this," she said carefully. "Are you sure this is from the housing office?" The shorter man gave a quick smile, but his eyes did not match the smile. "Yes, madam. We were told to come today. Please cooperate." Something in Mira's heart warned her. She decided not to open the gate. Instead, she said, "My husband will be home soon. You can speak with him." The men exchanged glances. The taller one tried again. "It will only take 5 minutes. Why waste your husband's time? Just let us in now." Mira felt a shiver. Their tone was not respectful anymore. She shook her head firmly. "I am sorry. You will have to wait." Inside the house, she quickly locked the main door and went to the window. The men were still standing outside, whispering to each other. One of them took out his phone and made a call. Their behavior made her uneasy. Moments later, Ravi's car pulled into the driveway. He stepped out with his usual calm expression, wearing simple clothes, carrying a small bag from the store. Mira felt relief wash over her. As soon as Ravi saw the two men, he slowed his steps. His Navy years had taught him to notice small details. The badges on their shirts looked poorly made. The way they stood was not disciplined. And the fact that they were pressuring his wife immediately raised alarms. "Good afternoon," Ravi said in a steady voice. "Who are you?" The taller man spoke quickly. "We are from the housing committee. Routine inspection." Ravi studied their faces. "I know every guard here. You are not from the committee. Where are your ID cards?" The men hesitated. One of them muttered something about leaving the ID in the office. Ravi's sharp eyes caught the nervous movement in their hands. They were not what they claimed to be. Mira came out, standing close to Ravi. "They wanted to check inside the house without notice," she explained. Ravi gave her a calm nod. Then he turned to the men again, his voice firm but polite. "If you are truly from the housing committee, you should have proper papers. I will call the office right now and confirm." The men shifted uneasily. Their confident act was falling apart. Ravi reached for his phone. At that very moment, the two strangers quickly walked away, pretending to be in a hurry. They did not look back. Ravi watched them until they disappeared down the street. His instincts told him this was not the end. These men were pretending to be guards, but for what reason? And why had they targeted his house? Mira touched his arm. Who do you think they were? Ravi looked at the empty street. Not guards. Not from the office. We will find out soon. But we need to be careful. That night, Ravi sat awake, thinking. The peaceful neighborhood suddenly felt different. Something strange was going on, and he knew danger often hid behind simple masks. The game had just begun. The next morning began as usual in Ravi and Mira's home. Birds chirped on the windowsill, and the small garden outside glowed in the early sunlight. Mira prepared breakfast, while Ravi read the newspaper with calm focus. Yet, beneath the ordinary rhythm of the day, there was an uneasy silence. Both of them were still thinking about the two men from yesterday. Ravi folded the newspaper slowly. We cannot ignore this, Mira, he said. Those men were not just pretending. They were testing us. Testing us? Mira asked, puzzled. Yes, Ravi explained. When someone wants to break into a house, they first test how cautious the people inside are. If they find weakness, they return later. Mira felt a chill. So you think they might come again? Ravi gave a small nod. I do not only think. I am sure. After breakfast, Ravi decided to visit the Housing Committee office. He wanted to confirm if there had been any official inspections. The office was a short walk away, located near the community center. He carried himself with quiet confidence, nodding at neighbors as he passed by. At the office, he met Mr. Sharma, the elderly man who managed most of the committee records. Ravi explained what had happened. Mr. Sharma's eyes grew wide. Inspection? No, no such order was given. All our guards are known to the residents. No new members have joined. Whoever came to your home, they were outsiders. Ravi thanked him and left the office deep in thought. The confirmation was clear: those men were indeed imposters. But the question remained, why target this neighborhood, and why start with his house? Back at home, Ravi shared everything with Mira. She grew more worried, but Ravi's calmness gave her strength. We must stay alert, he said firmly. I will keep watch tonight. That evening, Ravi sat quietly near the window after dinner. The street outside looked peaceful. The street lights cast long shadows on the ground. Most neighbors had gone inside, and only a few lights glowed in distant houses. Mira sat beside him, knitting softly, while Ravi kept his eyes on the road. Hours passed slowly. Then, around midnight, Ravi noticed movement near the far corner of the street. Two figures appeared, standing under a tree. They were not talking loudly, but Ravi's sharp eyes caught their restless gestures. One of them pointed toward his house. Ravi's breath slowed. It was them again. The men stayed there for a few minutes, as if observing the street. Then they walked away, disappearing into the night. Ravi's suspicion grew stronger. They were planning something bigger. The next day, Ravi decided to take action. He visited his old Navy friend, Arjun, who now worked in private security. Arjun was glad to see him and listened carefully to the whole story. These men are no ordinary troublemakers, Arjun said. If they are bold enough to fake uniforms and walk into houses, they might be part of a bigger group. You should not handle this alone. Ravi smiled faintly. I am not afraid of them. But you are right. It is better to stay prepared. Arjun agreed to help. He promised to send one of his trusted guards to keep watch near Ravi's street for the next few nights. Ravi thanked him, feeling slightly relieved. Back home, Mira asked, "What did Arjun say?" "He will help us," Ravi replied. "But we must also help ourselves. Keep the doors locked at all times. Do not open for strangers. If anyone comes again, call me immediately." Mira nodded, her trust in Ravi unshaken. She had seen his courage during difficult times before. She knew he would protect her. That night, Ravi once again stayed near the window. This time he noticed something different. Across the street, a black car was parked. Its engine was off, but the faint light inside showed a shadowy figure sitting quietly. Ravi's heart tightened. The men were no longer just pretending. They were watching. Mira followed his gaze. "Who is in that car?" she whispered. Ravi's jaw tightened. "The same people. They are keeping eyes on us now." Mira clutched his hand. "What do they want from us?" Ravi did not answer at once. He kept his eyes on the still car, his mind working like a soldier's, planning, observing, waiting. One thing was certain: the peace of their home was under threat, and the game that began at the gate was slowly turning into a storm. The black car across the street became a constant shadow in Ravi's mind. Every night it appeared, sometimes with one person inside, sometimes with two. During the day, it would vanish as if it had never been there. The routine of the neighborhood stayed normal, but Ravi knew something hidden was unfolding behind the calm walls and quiet roads. Mira grew more restless. She tried to keep herself busy with household work and gardening, but her eyes often drifted toward the street. "Why do they keep watching us?" she whispered one evening, standing near the window. "They are waiting," Ravi replied. "Waiting for the right moment. But they do not know that we are also watching them." Ravi's training had taught him patience. He knew rushing into things without proof could be dangerous. For now, he wanted to study their pattern. Every night, after dinner, he would sit silently near the window, sometimes with the lights off, observing the car's movements. He noted the times it arrived, the moments when the men inside stepped out to stretch, and the routes they used when leaving. One night, Ravi decided to test them. He walked out of his house casually, pretending to take a stroll. Mira watched nervously from the doorway. Ravi crossed the street slowly, heading toward the small park at the corner. The black car stood still, but he could feel the eyes of the men inside following his every step. As he passed near, he glanced sideways. Through the dim light, he caught a clear look at one of their faces. The man quickly turned away, pretending to be busy with his phone. Ravi did not stop, but inside he marked every detail: the short beard, the scar on the left cheek, the restless eyes that avoided direct contact. When Ravi returned home, Mira rushed to him. "Was it safe?" "Yes," Ravi answered calmly. "I saw them. They are not guards, not officers. They are waiting for something bigger." The next morning, Ravi visited Arjun again. Over tea, he explained what he had observed. Arjun listened with concern. "You are right. This looks like organized activity. They may be after money, or maybe they believe your house holds something valuable." Ravi thought for a moment. "Then they have chosen the wrong house. But I need to be ready for every step." Arjun nodded. "I can send 2 more men in plain clothes to walk around your street. If those watchers see them, they may think twice." Ravi appreciated the offer, but he had his own plan too. He bought a small notebook and began recording everything: the car's number plate, the times it arrived, and the behavior of the men. Slowly, a pattern started to form. They always appeared after 9 in the night, stayed for 3 hours, then left quietly. Meanwhile, Mira tried to stay strong, but the constant shadow weighed on her heart. One evening she said, "What if they try to break in when you are not here?" Ravi held her hand. "That will not happen. I have asked Arjun's men to keep watch. And I will make sure the house is safe at all times. Trust me." His calm voice always gave her courage. That night, something unusual happened. The black car arrived as always, but this time a third person was with them. He stepped out of the car, looked around carefully, and then walked toward the end of the street where an empty plot lay. He stayed there for a while, shining a small flashlight on the ground, then returned to the car. Ravi watched closely. They are planning something. Maybe they want to use that empty plot as their hiding place. The thought made him uneasy, but it also gave him a clue. These men were not randomly watching, they were preparing. The following day, Ravi quietly spoke to a few trusted neighbors. Without alarming anyone, he told them to be cautious and to report if they noticed strangers. The neighbors respected Ravi, knowing his Navy background, and agreed to stay alert. By the end of the week, the black car had become a symbol of tension in their peaceful street. Yet Ravi was not shaken. Inside his mind, he was building a plan step by step. He knew these men would not stay in the shadows forever. Soon they would make a move. And when they did, he would be ready. As Mira closed the curtains that night, she asked, "Do you think this will end soon?" Ravi looked out at the car's faint outline. His eyes were sharp, steady, unblinking. "It will end," he said quietly. "But not the way they expect." The black car continued to appear each night, like a silent warning. By now Ravi had memorized its every detail: the dent on the left door, the faint crack on the back window, even the way the headlights flickered when the engine started. He had built a picture of his watchers, but he knew sooner or later they would grow restless and make their move. That evening, Ravi kept the lights inside the house dim. Mira prepared tea, but her hands trembled slightly as she placed the cups on the table. "I do not like this silence," she whispered. Ravi placed a reassuring hand on hers. "Stay calm. Remember, fear gives them strength. We will not give them that chance." Around 10, the black car rolled into its usual spot. 2 men stepped out this time, leaving one inside. They pretended to check their phones and smoke cigarettes, but Ravi noticed how their eyes kept scanning his house. He waited quietly, his notebook in hand, marking the time. Mira sat close to him, clutching her shawl. The air outside was heavy, as if the street itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, one of the men crossed the road and walked toward their gate. He carried no clipboard this time. His steps were quick and silent. The second man followed a few minutes later, staying near the fence as if keeping watch. Mira gasped softly, but Ravi signaled her to stay quiet. He moved to the door, listening carefully. The sound of the gate latch moving confirmed it. Someone was trying to open it. Ravi's eyes sharpened. They were testing the lock. He pulled out his phone and quickly dialed Arjun. In a low voice, he explained, "They are at my gate now. Send your men fast." Arjun responded firmly, "I am on my way too. Hold them if you can, but do not step outside yet." Ravi ended the call and turned to Mira. "Go to the back room and stay there. Do not come out until I call you." Mira hesitated, fear in her eyes, but she obeyed. She trusted Ravi's calm judgment more than anything else. Outside, The first man was now shaking the gate softly, trying not to make noise. When it did not open, he signaled to his partner. The second man pulled something from his pocket, a small tool, and began working on the lock. Ravi watched from a hidden corner of the window. His heart was steady, his breathing controlled. Years of Navy discipline flowed back into his body. He had faced storms on the sea and nights darker than this, but here the battlefield was his own home. The men struggled with the lock, unaware that every move was being observed. Minutes passed, then a faint metallic click broke the silence. The gate opened slowly. They slipped inside. Ravi's hand tightened around the stick he had kept ready. He had no weapon, but he trusted his strength and training. Still, he did not rush. He wanted them inside, where Arjun's men could catch them red-handed. The first man stepped onto the porch, his shadow long under the faint light. The second stayed near the gate, keeping it open for a quick escape. Ravi held his breath, his ears sharp for every sound. Then, faint footsteps echoed from the street. Ravi looked quickly and saw two figures approaching. Arjun's men had arrived, dressed in plain clothes, walking calmly as if they belonged to the neighborhood. The intruders noticed too late. Startled, they froze for a moment. One of them whispered something sharply to the other, and in an instant, they turned and dashed out of the gate. The black car's engine roared to life, and within seconds, it sped down the street, vanishing into the night. Mira rushed out of the back room, her face pale. What happened? They tried to come inside, Ravi explained, his voice steady. But they ran when they saw Arjun's men. Arjun himself arrived a few minutes later, his expression serious. They are testing your defenses again, Ravi. Next time, they may not run. Next time, they may come prepared. Ravi nodded. Then we will also be prepared. He looked at Mira, who stood close to him, her hands still trembling. He spoke softly, do not be afraid. This is our home, and no impostors will take that away from us. That night, Ravi stayed awake longer than ever, his eyes scanning the street. The fake guards had revealed their true intention. The battle for peace had begun, and Ravi knew the next move would decide everything. The night after the first attempt, Ravi did not sleep at all. He sat by the window, notebook in hand, reviewing every detail of the previous encounter. The black car had returned, but this time, it did not stop at the usual spot. Instead, it circled the block slowly, as if testing the neighborhood once again. Mira watched him from the sofa, her hands folded tightly. Will they come back? She asked quietly. They will, Ravi replied. But this time, we will be ready. We need to make sure they cannot get inside or even scare us. We will use their own mistakes against them. Ravi spent the rest of the night preparing. He made small adjustments to the locks, added extra bolts, and set simple but effective traps around the gate to make any entry difficult. These were not dangerous devices, only small warnings like trip lines that would make noise if touched, lights that would turn on automatically, and jars of pebbles placed in strategic spots. Each trap was designed to alert them and give him time to act. Early the next morning, Ravi called Arjun. They may come tonight, he said. Send 2 more guards and have them stay out of sight. We will give them a surprise they will not forget. Arjun agreed. We will be there, Ravi. They will not even know what hit them. The day passed slowly. Mira tried to act normal, helping with household chores and talking to neighbors, but Ravi remained alert. Every sound outside, the bark of a dog, the rustle of leaves, made him look toward the street. As evening approached, the black car appeared again. This time, two men stepped out immediately. They were bold now, confident that the night would belong to them. Ravi watched silently, heart steady, as they began inspecting the gate. One of them bent down near the small trip line Ravi had placed. A soft metallic sound rang out, startling them both. The man stepped back, knocking a small jar of pebbles. The noise echoed in the quiet street. Ravi smiled slightly. Their confidence faltered. The second man tried to open the gate quickly, but the extra bolt slowed him down. The more they struggled, the more Ravi's traps made sounds alerting him and the hidden guards. From behind the bushes, Arjun's men quietly moved closer. They had been observing for weeks and knew every corner of the street. Ravi had given them exact positions to stay hidden, and now they were ready. The first man, frustrated, tapped on the gate and whispered to his partner. The second man tried to force the latch open, but it held firm. Every attempt they made created noise and shadows that revealed their position. Ravi waited, watching the men's panic grow. When the black car's engine started in the distance, the first man looked toward it, realizing that something was not right. The car stayed silent now, parked further down the block as a lookout. Ravi stepped out slowly, making his presence known without rushing. "You should leave," he said firmly, his voice carrying the calm authority of someone who has faced storms and never wavered. The men froze. They had expected an easy target, but here stood a man ready and prepared. Ravi's posture, his calm confidence, and the invisible traps around them made the intruders feel the night was against them. A loud click from the gate startled them again. Ravi's gaze remained steady. "This is your last warning. Go back to wherever you came from. You do not belong here." The two men looked at each other, realizing they were trapped between unknown forces. Arjun's guards stepped out from the shadows behind them, not threatening but visible enough to show that escape would not be easy. The impostors turned back toward their car, now fully aware that their plan had failed. Without a word, they drove off, leaving the street empty and quiet once again. Ravi checked the locks and traps one more time before returning inside. Mira rushed to him, relief shining in her eyes. "Are they gone for good?" she asked. "They are gone for now," Ravi replied. "But they may return. We need to remain cautious. Tonight, we won the battle, but the game is not over." Mira smiled, finally feeling safe. Ravi's calm determination and careful planning had turned fear into strength. She knew he would protect their home, no matter what challenges lay ahead. That night, as the street remained silent, Ravi sat by the window, watching and waiting. The fake guards had learned their first lesson. Ravi was ready for the next. The week after the first failed attempt felt tense in Ravi and Mira's home. Even during the day, Ravi noticed the occasional shadow moving across the street, or a distant car slowing down near their house. He knew the imposters had not given up. They were planning something new, and he had to be ready. Ravi spent the days preparing quietly. He improved the gates, added extra locks, and moved the jars and trip lines to different places. He also installed small lights in corners that would turn on if anyone approached. Nothing was dangerous, only ways to alert him and the hidden guards. Every evening, he practiced moving silently through the house and checking every window and door. Mira helped too. She kept the house organized, double-checked the locks, and even learned to use the security cameras Ravi had set up. She no longer felt like a bystander. She felt involved, empowered, and safe with Ravi guiding her. That night, the black car returned, but this time it drove slowly around the block 3 times before stopping. Ravi had noticed their pattern. They always came later at night, after 9, trying to make residents feel sleepy and careless. But tonight, he had planned carefully. He and Arjun's team positioned themselves strategically. Some were hidden near the gate, others at corners of the street, and Ravi remained inside, observing every move. Meera stayed in the back room, watching quietly through a small camera screen connected to Ravi's phone. The imposters stepped out of the car with a new plan. One of them pretended to sweep the street with a flashlight, while the other tried to distract attention by knocking softly on a nearby empty house door. Ravi's traps reacted immediately. A soft metallic click rang out from the trip line, and one of the jars tipped over, making a small noise. The men hesitated. Something about the street did not feel right. Shadows moved in ways they could not see clearly. And the sudden sounds from the traps confused them. They whispered to each other, trying to understand what was happening. Ravi decided it was time to act. He opened the front door slowly, his posture calm but commanding. "You are in the wrong place," he said. His voice carried authority, the kind that comes from years of training and experience. The imposters turned quickly, startled. The man with the flashlight tried to run back toward the car, but another light shone from the corner. One of Arjun's men stepped out quietly, blocking the path. Ravi continued, "This is a peaceful street. We respect our neighbors, but we will not allow strangers to create fear." The imposters glanced at each other nervously. They realized they were surrounded not by weapons, but by alert people ready for their every move. Every attempt to escape seemed more difficult. The night felt alive with silent warning, and their confidence vanished. The man who had distracted with the knock on the empty house suddenly froze. Ravi's traps and Arjun's team had worked perfectly. They could not advance, and they could not retreat. The other man dropped the flashlight and raised his hand slightly, signaling surrender without a word. Ravi stepped forward calmly and said, "Leave this place immediately. Never return." The imposters, understanding that their plan had completely failed, backed away toward the car. The black vehicle started slowly and disappeared down the street. Silence returned to the neighborhood, heavier and more peaceful at the same time. Meera came out of the back room, relief written clearly on her face. "Ravi, they are gone," she whispered. "Yes," Ravi said, smiling faintly. "They have learned one lesson tonight. We are prepared, we are aware, and we protect our home." Arjun nodded. "You outsmarted them completely. They will think twice before coming back. Your planning, observation, and calm approach made all the difference." Ravi looked out at the quiet street. He knew this was victory, not just for him, but for Meera and for the neighborhood. They had faced fear, and through patience, courage, and intelligence, they had overcome it. Meera placed her hand in his. "I feel safe with you," she said. Ravi held her hand firmly. "Safety comes from awareness, courage, and care. We have all three." That night, the street finally slept peacefully. The black car was gone. The imposters had been outsmarted. And Ravi knew, no matter what challenges came next, their home was strong, and their spirits stronger. The night after the failed attempt, Ravi felt a sense of calm he had not experienced in weeks. The black car had not returned, and the imposters had learned that his home was not easy to scare or enter. Still, he remained vigilant. Peace was something earned, not assumed, and he knew the neighborhood needed reassurance as well. Meera, sitting beside him in the dim light of their living room, finally relaxed. "I think they have gone for good," she said softly. Ravi smiled but remained thoughtful. We cannot be completely sure, but we have made it clear that no one will threaten this home or anyone in this street. The next morning, Ravi walked around the neighborhood. He greeted neighbors, quietly asking if anyone had noticed unusual activity or suspicious vehicles. Everyone assured him that nothing strange had occurred since the night of the confrontation. Ravi felt a sense of relief. The street had returned to its normal rhythm. Children played in the small park, and neighbors waved politely at each other as they went about their day. That afternoon, he met Arjun and thanked him for the support. We could not have done this alone, Ravi admitted. Arjun nodded. It was your planning and patience that worked. I only assisted. You stayed calm, observed carefully, and acted smartly. That is why the imposters failed. Ravi's eyes softened. It is not only about stopping them. It is about creating a home where we feel safe and strong. That is what matters most. Back home, Ravi and Meera made small improvements to their house. Extra locks, cameras, and lights remained, not as tools of fear, but as reminders of caution. They spoke to their neighbors about remaining alert, teaching them simple ways to protect their homes without creating panic. The street became a place of quiet vigilance, where people looked out for each other. Days passed peacefully. The black car never returned, and the imposters seemed to have disappeared completely. Ravi used the time to teach Meera a few safety tips, simple skills she could use to feel confident even if he was not around. Meera learned quickly, her confidence growing with each lesson. One afternoon, while Ravi tended to the garden, Meera brought him a cup of tea. She smiled warmly. You turned fear into strength, Ravi. You protected this home and our peace without losing control. I am proud of you. Ravi took the cup, returning her smile. We did this together, he said. Courage is stronger when shared. You stayed calm, observant, and trusted me. That helped more than you know. The evening sun cast a golden glow over their street. Ravi stood near the gate, looking around at the familiar houses, the trees swaying gently in the breeze, and the quiet park across the road. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The threat was gone, and the neighborhood was safe once again. That night, Ravi and Meera sat together, sharing stories and laughter. The tension of the past week slowly melted away, replaced by warmth and contentment. The black car and the imposters were memories, lessons in courage and preparation. Ravi knew life would always have challenges, but now he also knew that calm observation, planning, and teamwork could overcome even the most unexpected threats. As they closed the windows and prepared for sleep, Ravi whispered, "No one can take our peace from us. Not strangers, not imposters. Our home is strong, and so are we." Meera rested her head on his shoulder, feeling safe, loved, and proud. The night was quiet, the street peaceful, and the house filled with a sense of security and trust. Ravi's steady presence had turned a frightening situation into a story of courage, strategy, and triumph. From that day forward, the neighborhood returned to its usual calm. Children laughed in the park, neighbors greeted each other warmly, and Ravi and Meera's home became a symbol of vigilance and safety. The imposters were gone, but the lessons remained. Ravi's bravery, planning, and care had not only protected his home but had strengthened the community. Peace, he realized, was not just the absence of danger. It was the presence of courage, awareness, and trust. And in that small street, surrounded by neighbors and nature, Ravi and Meera finally felt truly safe.